Crypto Billionaire 69 back with another technical analysis video on the overall market in Dogelon Mars. Gonna take a sip of this coffee. Let's get straight into the charts. And to be completely honest with you, none of this is surprising. This is exactly what we've been waiting for and what our technical analysis in the past videos have pointed us towards, which is Bitcoin breaking all-time highs again, right? So let's go ahead and add this and get a good look at the overall stuff that's going on here. So the current price is 103,000, around there. RSI is hitting that 75 level. Okay, we could come up and see a little bit of resistance and pushback, creating a double top and potentially even leading us down all the way to these $75,000 levels again. If we do not see a break above this all-time high at 110,000, okay? I want to see it break above 110,000, preferably up to these 115s or so, 113 to 15, and then have a little retracement, reset the RSI, so continue to push higher. That's what we're looking for. And yes, keep in mind, the last time it broke all-time highs, the RSI was at 70. Right now, it is at 75. Okay, so it's not looking like we have a lot of momentum to push extremely hard to the upside right now. So keep that in mind when you're seeing these gains in your portfolio. As we're approaching these all-time highs, the resistance is going to get tighter and tighter and tighter and harder to break through. And we could stay up here for a little bit, but most likely it looks as though right now we're going to see a rejection around these 109s. Alright, so until then, we'll probably see some coins continue to run up. I urge you, if you're up a lot right now, consider taking a little bit of profits until we get that confirmation that Bitcoin is breaking through all-time highs and is not going to just create a double top and reject super hard for the next year or so. So keep that in mind. I hope it doesn't do that. I really hope it doesn't do that. And I hope it breaks through and continues to go higher, but based on the RSI, it's already getting overextended. By the time it hits those previous all-time highs, it's going to be above 80, and it's going to need to pull back. So that's not a good sign, but it's a good thing that we're catching it early, right? Now, one thing that really makes me hesitant right now is, for example, Pepe today pumped 14% around this area, this top. It's up 11. The last 7 days, it's up almost 50%, 42%. It did hit 50%. The last month, it's up 77%. Okay? You look at Fartcoin, just meme coins that are doing the same thing. It's also up around that 70%, 83%. But then you go ahead and look at Elon. What is Elon doing? It's not doing anything close to those numbers. Yes, we did see a break above the previous resistance, which is good. However, we still haven't seen a major break and a major shift of structure to tell us that this is going to pump. I do think we might see another pump as Bitcoin reaches those all-time highs again. And I'm not going to make a decision right now as to whether I'm going to sell or not, but as of now, I'm continuing to hold. And the slippage on buying this coin is absolutely horrendous on a lot of platforms. So selling it and buying it makes it much more difficult because it's not very mainstream and widespread buys and sells. I do hopefully we do see a push up to these 30s again. That would be a nice little gain from where we've gotten in here, and that is what I'm waiting for. However, the one thing that really screws me up right now is that RSI on Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and look at Ethereum. Because the RSI on Bitcoin is saying that it's about to dump again. It's just having a little retracement before it dumps again hard. That's what the technicals are saying as of this moment on the dailies. Let's go ahead and look at same thing but on Ethereum. We're seeing a major pump. RSI is over 80 now. Now look at this. Okay, these are the daily candles. Every time it's hit up here on the top of the RSI, see a rejection. Boom. Now keep in mind this is all-time highs and the RSI was only at 62, right? This was close to all-time high and the RSI was around that 80, and we saw a huge rejection for a couple months, and then we saw a pump after the RSI hit those 30s, right? So as of now, we're seeing a super overextended RSI, momentum-wise, to the upside, which means we're probably going to see another retracement back down and break through these lows, push down, probably break through these lows again too. We're going to see a sub $1,000 Ethereum just simply based on technicals right now. And when it's sub 1,000, people will freak the shit out, and also it will be reset, the RSI, for another push to the upside, because right now what we're seeing is little moves, right, to the upside, but the RSI pushing really fast. That indicates it's going to drop in the future. I'm not saying that's guaranteed, but what I am saying is that every single time we see the RSI come up to this 80 level, we see a retracement or a rejection. Hopefully we see something like this though, right? We saw it come up and hit that 80, and then we saw it kind of retrace, but the RSI really moved fast to the downside, which indicates it has more room to move higher. But general rule of thumb, every time the RSI gets overextended to the upside, this is a good sell point, okay? Good sell point around these 80s right now, okay? We want to wait and see how this rejection looks on the RSI, because if it moves back down to these previous levels of resistance, which are now levels of support around these 1885s, and we see the RSI come back all the way down to those 50 levels, that will be a really good sign that we can continue to the upside. But what we really want to see is it come back down to these levels and it break below these 50s, right? So it's below around these 45s and hopefully even 30s. That most likely won't happen. What we might see though is that it comes back down to these same levels where the RSI was at these 55s, and hopefully will be lower. Anything lower than 55 on the RSI with a dump like this, a retracement, would indicate that we do have more room to the upside. But on the flip side, if it breaks down to these levels, we see the RSI retrace back down to those 60s and it's above where it previously was, that's not necessarily a good sign. So keep that in mind. We're in a weird point right now, and a lot of people think right now, because they don't know how to read technicals, that it's creating an upward trend and we should see a breakthrough all-time highs here soon. That's what a lot of people are thinking. A lot of people. But based on the technicals and the momentum factor here, we are due for another retracement before we move higher. Now, that retracement could be small price-wise, but large on the RSI, which is a good thing. Or the retracement could be very big on the price side and smaller on the RSI, which is a bad thing, which means it's going to continue to go lower. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see like a 750 Ethereum again. On the Bitcoin side, however, I'm not saying this to scare you guys either. I'm just giving you the momentum technical update on what the heck it looks like is happening right now. So these are the dailies. We've seen it pump. Now we're seeing it hit these resistance levels and put in a red candle again today, at least the start of one. And that is almost expected if you know what to look for, which is the RSI. I just explained all of that to you right now. So keep that in mind. We could come back down to these 90s again, or even lower, before we even have the potential to push higher. Now, hopefully, I'm wrong and it pushes up, and the momentum factor, in this case, very rarely this happens, but the momentum is just, this doesn't matter. There's just so much money coming in the markets. We'll see this thing base at the top, which we really haven't ever seen, like something like this. Bases at the top, continues to push higher. You see here? So hopefully that's what we're seeing, right? And then little retracements will give a huge push to the downside on the R side. If that's what we're seeing here, that's a really good sign. However, we gotta wait and see. So yeah, keep that in mind. Elon, I'm still holding at the moment. We're up a little bit. We're just hardly pushed past these 14 levels, and in the future we want to see it push past these 16s, 17s, up into these 25s again, and 30s. And depending on the overall market, this is my sell point up here. That would be a nice little 2 to 3x, 4x from the average price that I got in around that $70 million market cap level. We're currently around these 80s. Alright, I gotta go. Crypto being 69. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.